So Sullivan Barrera defeats Felix. I believe you say his last name Valerio or Valera. Very interesting fight. Felix Valeria. I've never seen him before. Apparently he fought that Demetrius Bivol guy, the guy that HBO keeps hyping up. But after seeing him, I get the impression that he's kind of like a counter puncher slash negative type of fighter. I didn't really like his style, like the way he was fighting. He was trying to, he was playing a lot of games. You know, he kept showboating a lot. But it's like, okay, you could showboat, but when you showboat, you have to actually win rounds. And he was doing a lot of showboating, but he wasn't winning rounds. Sullivan Barrera was clearly dominating him in the first round. He catches Sullivan Barrera with a really nice hook, left hook, and Sullivan Barrera gets dropped. One thing I noticed about Sullivan Barrera is he tends to get dropped every time in early fights. I've said this several times on my channel. I think he has a glass chin. Sullivan Barrera has been dropped like 9 times in his career. Very poor chin. I don't think he has the best chin. And normally, in this at the start of fights, he tends to get dropped because I think because he's when a lot of times fighters they get cold feet. I think that's the case with Sullivan Barrera. You could catch him early in fights, but Sullivan Barrera is one of those guys that he recovers really fast. That's one thing I noticed about him. He recovers really fast. Just like he did against Joe Smith when he got dropped. Just like he did against Simbransky when he got dropped. Yeah, at the end, I kind of feel like Felix Valerio kind of gave away the early rounds. He kind of gave away like the mid rounds because he wasn't doing that much. He was just really counterpunching. He kept throwing low, very low blows. The referee took away some points. But then at the end of the fight, at the end of the round, his trainer was like begging him to go for the knockout, and he actually became more aggressive. I wish he would have fought like that throughout the whole fight. It probably would have been a more competitive fight, but he kept trying to, he just kept showboating too much, I think. Showboating. And Barrera was being very professional. He was throwing his jab. He was throwing his body shots. He was clearly the better fighter. He was more accurate. Yeah, this Barrera guy, it's not like I was impressed with him, to be honest. I just thought he was showboating too much. You could tell he has some talent. He has some talent, but he just, I think he was too busy showboating rather than actually letting his hands go, if you get what I'm saying. But yeah, this was now Sullivan Barrera is the mandatory for Demetrius Bivol. I don't know why a lot of people are high on Demetrius Bivol. Like, HBO are really hyping this guy up. I don't know why. I never, like, literally a year ago, I didn't even know who Demetrius Bivol was. And now all of a sudden HBO was hyping him up. Like, you could tell they're hyping him up like crazy. But yeah, this is going to be Demetrius Bivol's biggest test as a professional. If Demetrius Bivol is able to beat Sullivan Barrera, because now apparently Sullivan Barrera is the mandatory, right? So if Demetrius Bivol is able to beat him and do it in spectacular fashion and dominate him, then he's clearly a threat. As of right now, I still don't really know what he is because he hasn't fought anybody who I consider a threat. He hasn't fought anyone that I could be like, okay, this guy beat this guy. But if he beats Barrera, and let's say he knocks him out, then obviously he's a real threat. So I'm gonna reserve judgment on Demetrius Bivol or whatever you say his name. I know because I see a lot of people, already saying Demetrius Bivol is a hype job. I can't really sit here and say he's a hype job because he hasn't fought. I haven't seen him in there with the top guys. I want to see him in there with Sullivan Barrera. That's gonna be a test. That's gonna be a test. So that's why I'm excited. This is gonna see if he's either fake, a fraud, or if he's the truth. If he gets past Sullivan Barrera, because Barrera is a top contender in my opinion. I believe he's a top 10, top 15 type of light heavyweight. So that would be a good test for someone like Demetrius Bivol. Again, I don't really know too much about Demetrius Bivol, so I don't know how my prediction would be for that fight. But yeah, that's a decent fight. Sullivan Barrera. To me, one thing I noticed when Sullivan Barrera first fought Andre Ward, a lot of people criticized Andre Ward. They were saying he was a bum. But as the time has gone on, Sullivan Barrera has proven that he wasn't a bum. You know, he's proven that he was actually a real a threat at light heavyweight. I'm not saying he's going to be a champion, but I'm saying he's proven to at least be a contender, a top contender. So I think as the time goes on, this Andre Ward's victory over Sullivan Barrera 2 years ago is making him look better and better each year, because Sullivan Barrera has pretty much dominated the majority everybody he's fought. The only guy who schooled him was really Andre Ward. You know, nobody's been able to dominate Barrera. So I think Barrera is really making Andre Ward look better, if you get what I'm saying, as the years go on, because as he keeps fighting and as he keeps winning, he looks better. Is making it Andre Ward look even better, you know, in terms of resume. So, and imagine if he becomes a champion. So yeah, guys, that's a lot to say. If you watched the whole video, I appreciate it, and set him out.